What's up, everybody? Michael LaFido. Hope you're having a great Friday. You're listening to another episode of the Luxury Specialist podcast. In particular, we're going to be talking about a case study. We had a really significant sale recently, and we're going to be talking about what we learned from that because it took us 9.5 years to get that property sold. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to dive right in. And if anybody has questions, they certainly can ask them. So you should see a picture come across right now. And this is the property in the background. This was the Empire Mansion. We just sold it end of April. This home was Architectural Digest most beautiful home for sale in Illinois. And we're very honored to have represented it. And we're going to share with you today basically the ins and the outs. Took us 9.5 years. We put that home on the market on October 15th of 2015. I mean, Obama was still the president. The election with Hillary and Trump hadn't even taken place. So we put this October 15th of 2015. We put this on the market. It took us 9.5 years to sell. During that time, I was with 4 different brokerages. Every brokerage was amazing, and each one we had a great opportunity, and so we took it with others. As you know, besides selling, I am a consultant and a best-selling author, and so we helped with the various luxury divisions at various brokerages. And so this is a case study on the Empire Mansion. Okay, how we got it sold 4 brokerages later, 10 price adjustments later, 9.5 years later. Now, in real estate, there's an old adage: you want to be the firstborn, and the second wife, and the third real estate agent. But this literally is. I was the third agent on this one. I was the third agent. It was a pretty cool property, and so again, if you guys are watching this live, you can leave us a comment in the. You don't have to download anything, whether you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. If you're watching a replay, you can shoot us an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. Feel free to ask away your questions. I put my email down on the screen right now, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. So there were a lot of takeaways, a lot of lessons from this. This transaction made me a better agent, made me do a better job of pre-qualifying buyers. My client was very private and wanted to know who's seeing his home. So literally, sometimes I'd get a pre-qual and he wanted more information. So it was very helpful to me from that standpoint. All right, so the Empire Mansion, we're talking about that today. We're talking about how we got it sold, and we will be going. And if you're watching on Instagram, just go ahead and type a comment there. I won't get to the Instagram as much. You won't be getting the slide deck, unfortunately. But this is the Empire Mansion. It was a significant sale, and I'm calling it from stale to sold. How did we get the Empire Mansion sold? How do we get it sold? Okay, from stale to sold. So the background. On this property, I was the third agent. It started at $15.9 million. I put it on at $12.9 in 2015. And it took us 9.5 years and 4 brokerages later. It is a record sale. To give you some kind of context, each year in Chicagoland, anywhere from 4 to 6 homes, in Illinois for that matter, 4 to 6 homes a year sell at $6.5 million or more. So it's a rarity. I mean, we just had Michael Jordan, the greatest athlete of all time. His home was on for 13 years in Chicagoland, started at $29 million and sold at $9.5, all with the same broker. So it's not easy. Sales aren't easy. I just got back from Houston. I was in Miami 2 weeks ago, and some of those agents can't believe they think there would be more homes that sell at that price point in Chicagoland, because Miami's up there with the most $10 million. They call them super prime properties, $10 million sales. They call that super prime. That's a global term. Miami, New York has got some of the most super prime properties across the globe. Dubai takes in the lead. Dubai is number 1. I really enjoyed Dubai when I went 2 years ago. All right, so The longest listing of my career, and why was it worth the wait? Why did it take so long? Well, I already told you there's just not many transactions, right? So condos in the city, there might be, anywhere from 7 to 10 condos that sell each year, 6.5 million or more. In single family homes, the last 2 years there were 6 that sold at 6.5, including Michael Jordan's last year. Pre-pandemic in 2019 there was only 1, and 2018 there were 4. So again, on average about 4 to 6 a year. So not as many buyers out there looking. This home was built in 2008. Today's buyers think styles come and go every 10 years. So any home that's older than 10 years, buyers think that kitchen's dated, the bathrooms are dated, the mechanicals are getting up there in age. So this home being 17 years old, we had, original roof, cedar shake roof. Most insurance carriers today in the Chicagoland market, if you are insuring a home with a wood roof, they call those cedar shake roofs. If it's 20 years or older, they're going to give you a depreciation cash value because they are so expensive. So keep that in mind when you're buying a home. If it's got a cedar shake roof, if it's 20 years or older, the roof, you're going to have some issues when you insure it. Just keep that in mind. So this home was 17 years old, and just like any listing, we do what's called a SWOT analysis. What's the strengths of the home? What are some weaknesses that we need to downplay? What are some opportunities in the marketplace? And maybe what are some threats? Okay, maybe a threat could be a home down the street offers more than the 17,000 square feet, and it's newer and it's on the market for less. So that could be a threat. Okay, tariffs could be a threat if we thought our buyer was coming from out of the area, perhaps. Okay, so I want to make sure we covered that. Now, why this luxury home sat for 9.5 years and what finally got it sold? Well, communication, of course, is key. When you have a client for a long time, let alone 6 months, let alone a year, let alone 5 years, let alone 9.5 years, communication is key. And you want to communicate with that client the way they want to communicate it with or to. So if they're a texter, you don't want to call them. If my client liked phone calls, so if I texted him, he'd reply back saying, call me. Okay, so he wanted to talk. So understand that. Again, that's one of the big frustrations with home buyers and sellers is if you communicate with them not the way they want to be communicated to. You got to update them on the market, update them on upcoming showings, on past showings, on all the above. So next I want to talk about pre-showings, during showings, and post-showings. So pre-showings. So before the showing, we would of course require proof of funds. What's up, Robbie? We'd require proof of funds before the showing, and that proof of funds would be a letter from a CPA, from a banker, a lender, and I would call that lender, that CPA, just to confirm, hey, it's Michael LaFido. I'm just confirming that you in fact wrote this letter for John Smith dated May 5th, 2025. Is he in fact qualified to purchase this $7.5 million home? So I would call and verify. I would be skeptical of every pre-approval. We had fake pre-approvals throughout the course of 9.5 years. We had fake buyers. My clients sometimes would judge a buyer by what they drove. I mean, I had somebody get dropped off in an Uber once, which was a little odd. I told that agent, be careful, because she was driving them home. So again, this home had significant global appeal because it was on Fox's hit series Empire for 6 years. So it had some global attraction as well. And it was Architectural Digest Most Beautiful Home for Sale. So again, it was in print and digital. I was getting my hair cut when they made the announcement that this was the most beautiful home for sale in Illinois. I never forget, I was in the place and they said, Barrington Hills Mansion was just voted the most beautiful home for sale in Chicagoland. And I was like, hey, that's my listing. It was kind of funny. So pre-showings, we want to make sure people are qualified. Now, my client was very meticulous. The house was amazing. He wanted to pre-qualify everybody. He wanted to know who was looking at the home from the standpoint, he would look them up, almost like Meet the Parents with Robert De Niro and with the lie detector test. He would want to know, he would do due diligence on them. He'd know if they're Democrat or Republican. If they're Democrat, he might have a book on Bill Clinton laying on in the library on the coffee table. If it was a Republican, he'd have Ronald Reagan. I mean, he wanted people to feel comfortable in his own home. So it's like, hey, this isn't coincidence. I'm supposed to be here. So I learned a lot from him there. I also learned a ton on making sure that people are qualified, double checking, triple checking, asking those tough questions. Because if I didn't, he'd make me go back and ask them. And so I have to have that difficult call. So pre-showings. And then the other thing was the weather. If the weather was supposed to be possible rain, he would cancel the showing. And I had to tell him, buyers want to see a home when it's convenient to them, not when it's convenient to you or the weather. So we got to be as flexible as possible. These people are very successful, just like you, and their time is very limited. So that was pre-showings. Now, during the showing, of course, I'd be there, and sometimes I'd have a team member there. We'd get all the lights on, and that could take a while. We'd get the golf cart out. They had an extended golf cart, which we would tour people around the walking path. There was a walking path along the 8 acres, and we would tour people at the end on the golf cart. Sometimes it was raining, sometimes it was cold. One time the golf cart got stuck. I had to push it. But the golf cart was a unique way to see the property from the back, from the front. And so during the showings, we would make sure everything was lit up. They'd have candles, they'd light music, and I would have a touring path that I would do every time. I'd meet them at the front door. I would tour them on the first floor, particularly the east wing first, then the west wing, and then we'd go down to the lower level because they had an amazing bar and theater. I wanted to show that before we finished on the third floor. So again, having so that you're showing the best features first is important. So we did that. We'd offer food and drink to make sure they're comfortable. They might be coming from another showing. So one time, it was a buyer from China, and the agent told me that he's going to have anywhere from 10 to 15 people with them. Now, my client wanted to see passports and everything else. We didn't want to offend them, but we wanted to make sure they are who they say they were. And so luckily I knew ahead of time, and I had 2 other team members there with me. So I was guiding the tour, answering questions. I had another agent pulling up the rear, almost like a caboose. And I had a third agent to make sure nobody strayed off and went to somewhere they weren't supposed to or take pictures. So again, the showings were really important. You wanted people to feel good about the home. You wanted to put in as best light possible. These clients always did a good job of having the lights on, having candles going. And this year, for example, he didn't want to put it back on in January. He wanted to wait till April when the pool was open. But I reminded him that, there's not a lot of competition out there. People are starting to look. We put it on in January. We had more showings in the first 45 days than we did the previous 6 months. So that was good. And we had an offer, which we just closed on 2 weeks ago. So why this luxury home sat for 9.5 years? Obviously, it had its limitations with the number of qualified buyers out there. So let's look back at some of the best marketing strategies. I've had agents already reach out. Hey, Mike, what did you learn? What are some of the things you would do again? What are some things you would avoid doing again? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about on these next 2 slides. So again, look at the bar, that backlit area, change colors. It turned out amazing. Literally, I sent out photographer 3 to 4 different times over the course of 9 years, even if nothing was changed, just to get a different perspective. We did drone photos, of course. We did videos. I think we had 3 different videos. The owner was very particular on what he was wanting, so I was cognizant of that. Print, we had some great print marketing, and some press and PR. We got tons of press and PR local. Again, when you pay for media, when you pay for advertising, that's paid. Earned is when they write about you for free. Okay, so since it's closed, I've been interviewed by the Daily Mail and other leading publications, from the Tribune to Crane Chicago Business. But press and PR, it's one of the modules that we teach in our 16-module Lux designation. First 7 modules are all about attracting opportunities, and modules 8 through 16 are all about leveraging your buyer opportunities and your listings and your past sales. Okay, so press and PR is one of those modules. And another module is event-based marketing. So for this particular property, we've had a few events at it. One was with a car road rally company, okay, Chicago Motor Cars. They are good friends of mine. They put together this road rally where they, 40 exotic cars would start out in Rockford, they tour, and then they came out this way. And wow, was it pretty cool when you hear all these cars pulling up to the front gate, pulling in. We had 40 cars pull in easily on the circular driveway. And my client loved it because these were all high net worth individuals driving cars that were $300,000 to $1 million. And so I do know that people that have multiple exotic cars, they usually have multiple homes. So he loved that. Okay, so we did print, we did photos, we did video, and I'll show you the video when we have some time here in a minute. So that's some of our best marketing strategies. Some things that I would probably not do again. Number one, advertisement in print publications. It made my seller feel warm and fuzzy, but it didn't get the home sold. So that'd be something I probably would change that up a little bit. Okay. So that was ad space in magazines. I made him feel warm and fuzzy, but it didn't get the home sold, and it didn't really get any inquiries. And then I, at the time, was with Christie's, and although I had the listing, they offered a co-marketing plan where for a referral fee, they would add this property to some digital newsletters, some print marketing. And I did it because at the time I was hoping to bring more value to Christie's, and I wanted to see who one of their main guys that was coaching agents up, if I could learn from him. And unfortunately, I was disappointed on the value add, and basically the only message they had was lower the price, right? Which I didn't need to pay a referral fee to hear that. So anyways, I'm going to share with you right now. This amazing video for this property. So give me 1 second. And this is the video we did for this particular property. All right. So my client here wanted to emulate basically like Miami Vice from the late 80s, where you're flying over the water. And so this was one of the 3 videos we did on the property. I won't show the whole thing. Look at the beginning. Then we see bullet points on acreage, on the address, bullet points on bedroom, bathroom. Okay. And we sped up. I like using different videographers because all videographers have their own style. And so we had a couple different style videos. This one was sped up, slowed down. There's the property there. So there's the back of the property. Front. Little spitters going. We want to make sure those were on. We want to make sure all the cushions were out. Photos we give you at daytime and nighttime, right? Because at nighttime it takes on a total different look and feel. Okay? So you get the idea. Okay? It also was on 2 lakes. So this was one of the 2 lakes it was on. So getting back to my message, there was some great digital marketing we did. The print was something I probably would recommend. It's not the best ROI in the world. And then, like I said, co-partnering with Christie's at the time, it was something I wouldn't do again, given what I knew. And going into it, I was a little skeptical, but I'm like, hey, let's try it out. Maybe I learned something. And if there's a void and I don't learn something, I could go back to them and say, hey, let me help. And I did. But you know how corporate America is, they're kind of inside the box. So anyways, so let's recap the Empire Mansion. Communication is key on any of your listings, in particular with high net worth individuals. Their time is, I don't want to say more valuable than other clients' time, but their time is valuable. They're used to Ritz-Carlton VIP silver platter service. So they're used to people doing things from them at the house or document-wise. And so you want to make everything as easy as possible for them. You want to make everything as easy as possible for your high net worth individuals, for all sellers and all buyers, but particular the high maintenance ones. Again, there's high maintenance entry level clients. There's jerks that are entry level. There's jerks that are luxury. Okay. There's amazing people entry level. There's amazing people luxury. Okay. So don't get inside your head and overcomplicate things. So communication's key. Put their home in the best light possible. So highlight the best features and downplay the least favorable. That's always the case. Most agents struggle with that. So I didn't show everything in the video or everything in the photos. And by the way, that you could see the walking path that we rode the red golf cart around the property when we toured people. Okay, so and then don't judge a book by its cover. Again, there's a lot of high net worth individuals that dress in blue jeans and a black T-shirt and tennis shoes, not the suit and tie. I've had some buyers request utility averages and how much to maintain the property. And my client said, well, there's an old adage, if they ask how much something is, they probably can't afford it. I said, well, I can appreciate that, and maybe that's how you buy. But remember, this guy gave me a pre-approval through Chase. He didn't redact the name or the account number, and he had 30 million just in this account. So this guy is qualified. Again, everybody buys differently, and they might buy differently than you, Mr. Seller. So that's really important that you remind people of that as well. So, and then don't judge a book by its cover. As I mentioned, we did try an auction with this home. In the end, we canceled it because we didn't have as much interest as we thought. But there would be people that would come during the open house auction portion, and he would automatically disqualify people. And so we just had to remind them that, hey, don't judge a book by its cover. And he got it. He understood. He just was nervous. Again, this is my contact information for anybody watching the live stream. Again, if you want a copy of our best-selling book, by the way, talking about book, so our first luxury book was Luxury Listing Specials. This came out September 1st of 2017, 8 years ago. And guess what house is on the cover? This Empire Mansion. That tells you how long I had it. But our most recent book hit bestseller in 6 categories. If you'd like to get a copy of it, believe me, I lose money with what I'm about to tell you. You can go on Amazon or Barnes & Noble and pay $30 plus shipping, or we waive the cost of the book and you just pay the shipping and handling. As I mentioned, we lose money on it, but it's a way for me to give back to the industry. And when you do sign up when you get our book, you'll be enrolled into our weekly luxury weekly emails. Every Friday we send out an email. It's educational in nature. So anyways, you guys have been amazing. I appreciate it. Let's see if we have any questions or comments. Otherwise, what we will do is we will open it out. All right, Dave says, I have a similar listing, 6.8 million, 22,000 square foot in Minnesota, has been listed with several agents, but I plan on getting it done. Looking forward to hearing your story. Well, Dave, I hope this was helpful. I'd be happy to do a fresh eyes analysis with you. If you can jump on a Zoom with me, we could dissect to see, hey, how can you maybe position it? I'd have a list of questions for you. And if that's something you're interested in, just go ahead and shoot me an email at michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. michael@marketingluxurygroup.com. Go ahead and do that, David, and then we will set up a time. Next week, I'm going to be in Toronto speaking at the Toronto Realtor Quest event. Again, Toronto Realtors are the largest real estate board in the world. I'll be speaking there. This past week, I was teaching my Lux designation at the Houston Association of Realtors, which is the 3rd largest in the world, 2nd largest in the U.S. The largest in the U.S. I spoke at 3 weeks ago, which is the Miami Association of Realtors. They're 2nd in the world to Toronto, but the largest in the U.S., 2nd largest is Houston Association of Realtors. So we do stuff with the largest and the best. If you would like additional information on our services because you want to increase your average sale price, you want to work smarter, not harder, then you should reach out to us. You can check out our website. You can check out our swag. Just a reminder, we have some amazing swag. If you go to luxuryspecialsgear.com, luxuryspecialsgear.com, you can get our hoodies, our hats. They're crowd favorites when we speak at events. You can go to luxuryspecialsgear.com. You see it coming across the screen. You could also get our planner then. Okay, we have the only luxury real estate planner in the industry. It's a 6-month planner. The first 17 pages are training in nature. They help you focus on what your hourly rate is and developing systems for cold marketing and warm marketing and prospecting. And then the 6-month planner is followed by it. You can get it on Amazon or you can get it on our gear website, which is luxuryspecialsgear.com. You can get that. You can get our books, or you can get our objection handling playing cards. So I hope this is helpful. Again, you guys are amazing. Keep raising the bar. And if you need anything, reach out. Dave, good luck with your big listing in Minnesota. If we can help, Dave, shoot me an email. Until next time, my name is Michael Lafito. Keep raising the bar, and let's prove others wrong. Take care, everybody.